forget to like and subscribe.
And hit the notification bell
so we can go to college and get more knowledge.
How optimistic are you on the regulatory front here in the U.S.?
So I feel like we need to get something done here in the U.S. in order for us to really set the standard, if we want to set the standard, which I think the U.S. government is going to want to do that. So I'm very optimistic that we're going to get something on stablecoins by the end of the year. And the reason why is because we don't have a choice. If we want to have a voice in this, we need to get it done this year.
When you say the U.S. government, who are you referring to? Is this a congressional question? Is this the SEC CFTC question? Is it the Biden administration and directives coming from the White House? I mean, who realistically is in charge?
Well, we've actually already seen the Biden administration indicate, at least on stablecoins, that we need to see something happen there. So I feel like that's already been a directive from the White House and the administration. And then we do need to see in Congress, we need to see them take that and run with it and create something for us. So they're in charge of the legislation with respect to stablecoins, in my opinion. And we need to see it because once we see stablecoin legislation, we're going to see adoption of more, by digital assets, of more companies that are in the Web 2 space, which is essentially what I think we want. If we want a strong U.S. dollar, and we want a strong U.S. dollar globally, U.S. dollar stablecoin is a way to see that happen.
You are, Denelle, at Stellar behind the development and growth of this technology in this industry. Does it have to be in the U.S.? Or why are you so U.S.-centric, seeing as other countries are so much friendlier to the crypto industry than the U.S. seems to be?
Well, I love the fact that other countries have actually taken a lead on this, but I don't want us in the U.S. to be forgotten because I think it's a really important place where we have a lot of innovators and a lot of developers who are already really focused on this tech stack, and we want to see them be able to get their technology out and make it more utility-focused and usable. So I just don't want us to stay so far behind in the U.S. that we lose sight of what the value is, which is actually really getting these technologies to the U.S. consumers as well. And to be honest, if we don't do something in the U.S., we're going to be in this bifurcated world where we have legislation outside the U.S. that's more friendly to crypto. We're going to have companies being outside the U.S., and we're still going to have the issue where U.S. consumers are going to want to leverage this technology. So what are we going to do in that scenario? So I'm optimistic only because I don't think we have a choice.
How do we get, or how do you get then some of the political capital back that was destroyed by Sam Bankman-Fried, that seems to have been spent by CZ? I mean, this industry, they're not, favorites on Capitol Hill.
Well, part of it is that we don't have a lot of operators that come to Capitol Hill, and so we need to do that. We actually have some really great utility uses that were shown already the value to consumers and to businesses alike globally. We see some of those on Stellar. We have the humanitarian aid use case that we did with the UNHCR, where the UNHCR is using Stellar and tools built on the blockchain and USDC to be able to get aid into Ukraine to users in 2.5 minutes. That's an awesome use. We also have folks that are using this for cross-border. We see a lot of it happening where in Colombia, they're preferring the USDC, the dollar in Colombia, and they're leveraging that to count against inflation there. So these are things that we're seeing happen, and what we need to do is have operators come to DC and be able to tell their story of what they're developing. Stop talking about the technology, start demonstrating the utility. This is what we've been doing for a long time, but honestly, it hasn't been that sexy when all the trading use cases and all that were going on, but now let's focus on the real utility. That's how we win this.
Okay, so if it's about utility, though, doesn't that require understanding? Because the argument we get from skeptics and some lawmakers as well is it's not necessary. You're just reinventing the wheel, maybe doing something in a different way, but we don't actually need it.
Well, first of all, I think it's because a lot of them focus on the tech stack and they're not actually looking at the uses. When you look at a wallet that's actually enabling you to live in Colombia, to receive USDC, and to hedge against the inflation in the local currency, that demonstrates that there is value there to someone, and that is actually happening because it's a digital asset on a blockchain. So we have to talk about the utility in order to make that happen. But importantly, we don't actually see a lot of discussion around that. So we see more discussion on the tech stack. And the truth of the matter is, you use HTTPS every day when you go and log onto your computer, when you're checking your bank, when you do all those things. You don't actually talk about HTTPS.
Right, I don't even know what
I think
exactly. That's the point. The point is we have to stop talking about blockchain and crypto and show what it can do.